one blueprint, and that being followed against all those houses. That's why you see so many multiple houses, and every house can be considered as an object. We'll try to understand much better way. First, I'm giving you a head start in terms of how you have to look at the concept of classes and objects. Same thing is true for every car getting manufactured. They do have one design and they build multiple or lakhs of models of that design. For example, Maruti 800, which came really early in early ages. So they did have a design, and then they built all those models. Same thing is true for Alto. Same thing is true for BMW. Any car, right? One design and multiple being manufactured, and every manufactured car is nothing but an object, right? Makes sense. So perfect. So can I say, let's say there is a class called car. Okay, let's say there's a class called car. Does car have a color? Yes, right? Do we agree? It does have uh, tires, right? Yes or no? It does have brakes. Yes. So let's stick to these. Okay. And the car runs, right? It runs. Yes or no? Or we can say it drives. Do we agree? Okay. Let's say if car is a class, can I say car has these features, like it has a color, it has a tire, it has a brake? Can I say that? Yes, right? We can say that. Fair enough. So what I understand is, okay, if I take something as a class, I can define few features for it. This is for car. Mm, let's say there is a class called human. Humans also are nothing but as similar to class, right? Humans, do they have eyes? Yes, right? Ears? Yes, right? And then limbs in the sense hands and legs consolidated, they are called as limbs. They do have limbs. And humans can eat, yes or no? They can run, right? Are you able to understand what a class looks like right now? A class can have certain features. These are properties of a car, yes or no? One of the property or one of the feature of a car is its color, its tires and brakes. Do we agree? Right? One of the functionality or something it can do is drive, yes or no? That is one of the functionality it can do. Do you agree? Human has eyes, has ears, has limbs, but he can eat, right? This is one of the functionalities he can do. He can run, he can see, right? Do we agree? Anything too fancy here which you are not able to understand? I can break it down to much simpler level. Before I build it to take you to the next level of complexity, I just want you to be clear with respect to what a class is, right, and what an object is. Right now, just focus on understanding class. Do we understand what is a class right now? Anyone who doesn't understand, you can raise your hand and I'll go down to much basic level and I'll help you understand. Let me know, guys. Any doubts on what is a class? Okay, perfect. So now that we saw few examples, let's try to see in programming world how exactly classes look like. Don't be fascinated. Don't feel like, oh, is it something which I'll be doing? No, you are not going to do anything of this. Just to help you understand what a class is, I'm going to show this example. Just give me a second. My ID is loading. Nothing fancy, you just have to just take a look at it and then you can let me know if it makes sense. Okay. Let's try to write it from scratch. So you will know. Don't worry about what I'm trying to do here. Just focus on understanding what is class all about. Okay. None of this is important. Like how I'm trying to do it and stuff. This is just to help you understand. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing fancy here. Nothing close up. You may be asking, like, why are you trying to do this? Just to help you understand in a clear fashion, to understand what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to create a class. Okay, nothing fancy here. Mm, let's say we are trying to create a class called car. Okay, and then I'll call it perfect. So I didn't do anything. I just told please create a class for me, and by default, this particular IDE called Eclipse has given me a class called car. Okay, what did I say? Let's do what exactly we did in the notepad, right? It does have a color, right? The car does have a color, so let's add color to it. And it has tires. Yes, it does have tires, right? Color and tires, let's say these are the two things. And brakes, right? It does have brakes. Perfect. Mm, so if you're not speaking, you can go on. Perfect. So a car class does have a color. It has tires. It has brakes. Perfect. Right. And what it can do? It can drive. Yes or no? Do we agree? It can drive. These are properties of a car. Like properties or features it has. Right. Properties of a car are it has a color, right? Usually when you try to declare anything in programming, you need to tell what sort of a type it is, that's why I'm telling it's a string. Color, if you see, red is not a number, green is not a number, it's a string, it's a text in programming is called as string. Just remember that any text in programming will be called as string, irrespective of which programming you go into. Any text will be called as string. Let me call tires also. How many tires are there? If they ask you, there are 4 tires. This can be an integer, right? This is a number. How many tires does a car have? Will you tell red or green? No, you'll tell 4. Make sense? It should be an integer, right? Number or integer. Another name for number is integer. Nothing fancy about that. Brakes. Is it ABS or air braking is what it is. It's again a string. So let's take string here. Make sense? Anything fancy? Something which you can't understand so far of what we have done? Nothing, right? Okay. So these are properties of a car, right? These are properties of a car: color, tire, and brakes. Drive is something which your car can do, right? It's an activity which your car can do. Yes or no? Right? When you start a car, engage a gear, it runs, right? Is running. Any of this not something which you are able to understand? What we did, we declared a class called car. Inside that, we defined few properties for it, right? Few properties in the sense what it contains: colors, tire, and brakes. Just to take an example, it might contain many more things, but just to give you understanding of what a car looks like, I'm telling you. Okay, and then what it can do, it can drive. Yes or no? Assume that this is the design, the first person who built a car design, this is what he did. Okay, and for example, if I had to create a Maruti car out of it, I could do something like this to create a new car out of this particular model. In the sense, creating an object, when you have a blueprint, let's say if this is the blueprint, and if I have to create a new uh, you know new object out of it, this is how I'll be doing it. I'll say car, and then let me say this is Maruti. Okay, and then I'll say new of car. This is just a syntax using which they will create. Don't worry uh, what is the syntax and all about. Don't worry about that. Car. So I'll explain you what we are trying to do here, right? So if you see here, we declared a class called car, and then in that we've defined, hey, these are the few properties which a car can have, and what a car can do is drive, right? It can drive. So this is what we said, and then what we are saying, hey, based on this blueprint, can you create me an object? How is the object created? Whenever you use a new keyword in programming language, they say new keyword, it's like literally telling, when you try to start doing a building, for example, when you have a blueprint and you build a model home, then you have an object like that. So here we are, what we are doing, we are trying to build a model home, or we are building a car. A new car is being built. If you see here, based on this model or this blueprint, build me a new car, and that car's name is Maruti. Maruti built its car. So now we have one Maruti car, one BMW, and one Audi. Do we agree? Perfect. So with this understanding, all these three cars should be drivable, right? It's like when you build a home, you should be able to go and live there. It can't be a virtual thing. Yes or no? So let's see if we can drive this car, right? Let me see if I can drive this car. It's not saved. This. Okay, perfect. So let's keep this model as it is. And let's, okay, that is happening because of this. Don't worry about the syntax and stuff. Just focus on how we are able to create the objects. And nothing fancy about it. Okay, just focus on what we have been doing. Right now, I want to drive Maruti, right? I also want to drive BMW, and I also want to drive Audi. So if you see, we want to drive all these cars because these are the objects we created. What did we do? We created a class. We told these are the properties a class can have, and it can also perform an activity or a functionality. There's a functionality which a car comes with. What is it that? It's a major functionality which is driving, right? Now I'm saying, when I'm doing this, I'm saying like, okay, based on this particular model, create me a new car is what I'm saying, and I'm calling that car as Maruti. The same way I'm doing the same thing on line number 30, where I'm calling the new car which I'm building is called as BMW, and same thing is true for Audi. Okay, perfect. Now let's try to run this and see what will be my output. If, am I able to? Do we see the car is running 3 times? Yes or no? So what we did here is we created this model called as class, which has certain attributes, right? And after that, what we did, we were able to create an object based on this model, right? Or this blueprint. And we gave a reference to that object, which is Maruti here. And on that, we called this drive method, right? Anything which comes like this followed by two braces and you see a bracket open is a method in programming. They call it a method or something which does function, does activity. Some activity is being done. Like drive is activity, right? When you try to do drive, you're doing some activity like that, So what we did on Maruti, we wanted to drive the car Maruti, so we called drive on top of it by using this dot operator. Very important to understand. Using the dot operator, you can access all the members of the class. Just remember that. This is like really, really vital. Okay. What we did, we created a class. Okay. And then inside that class, once we declared what are the properties of that class and what it can do, we created objects for that class, right? Is this the class we created, car? Do we agree? Created that, and then we are saying, okay, hey, give me 3 new cars, and one is Maruti, one is BMW, and one is Audi. And then on top of it, we told, okay, call this drive method. That's what the system is doing. It is telling this is Java. So what it is doing is you're telling Java, hey, create me a class. Uh, if you're not speaking, can you go on mute, please? Ashok, can you go on mute, please? Perfect. Okay. So what we did, we were able to create 3 objects, and then on top of it we called the drive method. Now we see the first statement is coming from Maruti.drive, where we are able to drive the car. Same thing is true for BMW. Same thing is true for Audi. Do we understand what is a class now and what is an object? Yes? No? Perfect. Perfect. So this is very important. Like irrespective of where you go, these basics are going to be important for any language. Any language only has this basics with respect to class and object. What is a class? It's a blueprint. Exactly similar to what we did here with car. Right? Okay, this is a car example. It was straight enough. We understood. Let's say we take one more example to understand it much better. Let me create one more class called animal. Right, let's say we have created a class called animal, and animal has string, or let's okay limbs, right, or integer limbs. Limbs is nothing but number of hands and legs. Every animal has this, right? Every animal which is moving on planet Earth will have limbs, right? And it also can make sound. For example, sound is something which it can do, right? One of the features which can do, right? Similar to sound. It has limbs and it can make sound. Yes or no? Right? So let's say, is dog an animal? Right? Dog is an animal, right? Let's create one more class called dog. Okay, this will be helping us understand much better. Okay, let's say every dog has a race, right? Dog has a race like Doberman, German Shepherd, like that. It has a race, right? Race it belongs to, right? And every dog can bark, right? Yes or no? Right? Every dog can bark. Now see this thing, very interesting. This is nothing but a class called dog which is being created, and it has a race and it can bark. Like irrespective of which race you go to, it has to do this activity, right? It has to bark. Original, or I can call it base class bark. Perfect. So we are able to create another class called dog. It has race and it can bark, right? Now I can create one more class on top of this thing telling that hey, new class, and I can say German Shepherd. Okay, I can call this class German Shepherd. Right? Is German Shepherd a dog? Right. So what I'm saying here is there is another class called German Shepherd which extends from dog. What we are doing here is we are telling, hey, German Shepherd also is a dog, so you don't have to redefine what was defined inside dog. You're just telling you want to extend all the features of dog into German Shepherd. How is that possible? I'll show you. So, nothing fancy. The only takeaway from today's class is what is a class, what is a object, and what can a class contain. Like the features which we told, like eyes, nose, for example, for an animal. The same way, For a car, you can have color and stuff like that. That is the only takeaway. What I'm showing here is how exactly it is being used in software is what I'm trying to show you. Now, all this is important for you to understand few of the concepts within Pega, which are not straightforward. May help you understand that you need to have these basics. That's why I'm trying to help you understand these. So what I'm trying to do here, let's say I want to create a object of German Shepherd. Okay, I'll say German Shepherd. Okay, uh, let's say the German Shepherd's name is Jill. My dog's name is Jill, so I'll call it, and I'm saying German Shepherd. Okay, perfect. So what does this line do? Line number 8 helps me create a object. Okay, why? Because I'm using a new operator. I'm telling of the blueprint type German Shepherd, create me one German Shepherd. Now, have I defined race anywhere in this class, in the class German Shepherd? Do you see? Have I defined it? Or have I declared anywhere here? From 1 to line 10, have I told anywhere the attribute called race? No, right? No, right? Perfect. So, but you see, Jill dot, do I see a race attribute? Am I able to access a race attribute? And I will tell the original GST. This means like original German Shepherd race. Or I can call it canine. They are also called as canines. So, am I able to access on German Shepherd's object the race attribute which I declared in dog? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. So you might say, okay, race is something which you're able to access. Let's say, where did I define my bark method? In the dog class, right? If you see, I have this bark method inside the dog class. Yes or no? Every dog can bark. Do we agree? Yeah. Same thing is true for German Shepherd also. German Shepherd also can bark, right? It is also a dog and it can bark. So, in that sense, any German Shepherd should be able to access this method. Yes or no? Do you see how a class which extends from another class can access members from that class without even declaring here? Yes or no? So what you are doing is you are declaring it here once and you can access it multiple number of times, right? This is Jill. So in the same way, if I have Bruno, Bruno also can bark, right? Bruno is another dog. He's a GSD, but he can also bark. Yes or no? We declared this method and a property once and we are able to access it multiple times. Are we not? Yes or no? Are you able to understand? How is this happening? Because here you are telling this class German Shepherd extends from dog. In the sense, German Shepherd is nothing but is a kind of dog, is what you are telling here. That is why this keyword is making sure whatever was defined inside dog is accessible here. If you see, if I do Jill dot, it is showing me all the attributes, showing me race, bark, and some other methods also. Don't worry about that. These are the ones which we have defined, and we are able to see that. Yes or no? Perfect. Do we understand what is a class now? Any confusion here? Everyone clear? Perfect. So we were able to create a class. We were able to, define attributes inside a class and methods inside a class. Methods are nothing but functionalities. What can a dog do? It can bark, right? That's what it is doing, right? And even a German Shepherd can bark, right? The same thing we are trying to use. Say in the same way, I can also create one more class. Yes or no? I can create one more class extending dog. I can call it Doberman. Is Doberman a dog? Yes. I can say extend dog. Yeah, exactly similar to this. Right. Let me call the typical name. See? Also, right. And I'll call this Tommy. So when I try to run German Shepherd, let us say, see, the bark is getting called from where? The base class bark. Why is it getting called twice? Because on line number 12 as well as on line number 18, I am accessing the bark method. That is why it is getting called. Yes or no? Same way, even Doberman can bark, right? Now when I try to run this Doberman class, you will see Doberman also is barking. Why? On top of Doberman object also I am calling the bark method, which is present in dog class. Though I have not defined anywhere here inside the Doberman class, because I am extending, because this Doberman is of the type dog. This is called is a relationship. Do you understand? Doberman is a dog. Can you say dog is a Doberman? No, right? Do you understand this? It's called a is a relationship. It's like telling, for example, my name is X and my father's name is Y. I am son of Y. It can never be Y son of X. Do we agree? Yes or no? Same thing is true for German Shepherd. German Shepherd is a dog, but dog is not a German Shepherd. Do you understand? Perfect. So while writing, I can also write, this is one way of understanding. Now when you will see like dog is a German Shepherd. So when you go into Pega, you will see classes which will look like this. If you see, for example, alpha hyphen your alpha insure hyphen work. So how you would interpret this as is, for example, if it is dog, hyphen German Shepherd, right? And on top of it, if I create one more, I call it K9 KST. KST are like some specific German shepherds which are used only for, for battle purpose or for military purpose. They are specific German shepherds. They're not like normal German. For example, if I have to create another class, see, this is really interesting, right? This is interesting from this. I call it KST. It's again a specific German shepherd only meant for war purposes. It's one specific dog meant for war purposes. And I am telling this extends from German shepherd. Now I can also do this. I can call this as KSD. KSD, and I'll call this war. The dog name is war. Now you tell me, where is this race getting called from, or this bark method getting called from? Let me run this. See? Do you see this? KSD also is a dog, right? It is nothing but, you know, dog and German Shepherd and KSD. But the relationship with these guys is these both are dogs. That is why he can bark. Every dog can bark, right? Are we not showing that here? Though it is coming by two layers, it can still bark. Why? Because that's the functionality of a dog. Why? Because it is extending from German Shepherd, and German Shepherd internally again is extending from dog. German Shepherd also is a dog. KSD also is a dog. Do we agree? Is it clear, guys? Perfect. Do we understand what is a class now? Yes. No. Do you understand what is a class? And what is the object? Perfect. So these, whatever a class can have, for example, color and other attributes, car has those, class has those attributes. In the same way, when you try to create parent and child classes, where, for example, when we saw dog, German Shepherd is a child class here. Okay, this is a parent class. Dog is a parent class. German Shepherd is a child class. Who is the parent for German Shepherd? Dog. Do we agree? Parent class. Same way, when I go to KST, who is the parent for KST? German Shepherd. Yes or no? The immediate parent is German Shepherd, and internally, the parent for German Shepherd is dog. That is what we have to understand. Clear enough, guys? Perfect. Which is good. That's nice. So this is understanding of today's class. Let us try to see how many minutes do we have. Any questions, guys? So far, whatever we covered. Yes, no. Do you have? Anyone has questions? Yeah, yeah, go for it. Okay, perfect. So, whenever you try to, for example, every car model which you have created, why do we do a design of a car? In order to create a new car, right? Like when you draw something on the paper with respect to a car, why do you want to do it? So that you can replicate that in a realistic form, right? For that prototype. Do we agree? And how can you do that? Is in real life, it is like literally going to a manufacturing unit, getting all the metal, spare parts, everything, putting it to a automation line, and then you build a car. That is how you build a car from your blueprint. Do we agree? Same way in building houses, you have a blueprint, right? You follow a blueprint, you get a blueprint, you give it to your whoever is your contractor, and then looking at that blueprint, he pulls out the house, he builds that house using brick, mortar, all that stuff. Do we agree? Perfect. In software, we don't have to do all that. All that we have to do is we need to be knowing how to declare a new object. That is done here. For example, if you see here, car Maruti, I was able to create that just by using this new keyword. This new is nothing but it will help you create a new car without you literally doing it, because this is happening on a software at a software level. You're not physically able to see it, but it is built on the same concept. Do we agree? Are you able to understand? This line 24 is creating a new car, Maruti. This line number 30, you know, is also creating a new car called BMW. This line number 33 is also creating a new car called Audi. Make sense? Yes? No? Clear enough? This is how we are doing it. Though, so why I showed you this is once you understand this, right, when we try to do this stuff within Pega, this won't seem challenging to you. You know, this is object creation. Let me put it here also. When we try to go over the video, object creation. It is also similar. I'm giving you these basics because this is true for any programming language. Anywhere you go, if you know these basics, right, every programming language runs on something called as OOPS, object oriented programming, right? And those concepts are nothing but this class, object, and there is something called as inheritance and stuff. I'll explain that also when we try to hit that topic. I'll explain that. But right now, I'm trying to give you piece by piece. I mean, like they say, how do you eat an elephant? They always say you have to break it into pieces and then you have to have it. That's why I'm trying to give you very small pieces to chew so that you can absorb this information, and then based on that, we can start building much further. Does it make sense? Perfect. Okay. So today's class was more in terms of understanding how a class looks like. What does a class look like? When you try to think, when a requirement comes to you, you should be able to go into that understanding or in that realm of of building a class, right? When you go and talk to a contractor, he knows that okay, this is what you are expecting. He will by himself will tell, okay, sir, this is where you are expecting this. Why? Because he is already in that zone. To go in that zone, you need to know this understanding, the understanding of classes and objects, or else to put a given requirement into a solution, it won't be possible if you don't have this understanding. Now with this basics, we can on top of this we can start building. When we try to build our application which we have started uh, further, we'll see how exactly we'll be making use of it. If you see last time when we were trying to create the application, we saw something called as class structure. I told you don't worry about that. When we try to cover classes, we'll understand this much better. Does it make sense? What is that? Yeah. This I have used Java here to help you understand this. Yes, that's right. Perfect. Like I said, like if you guys wish to continue, I would like that you guys can let me know. If this is interesting and if you want to continue further, I want you to drop a note on 8482199369 on this number. Just drop me a WhatsApp message, please. I know, I mean, very few people have dropped, but I mean, I see a very good number joining, but no one has, responded back. Can you please do that? Is it too much of a ask? If not, I can stop asking. Can we do that? Yes, no? No, you don't have to. You don't have to write because Pega is a platform which is built on programming like this. It is built on Java. That is why I have chosen this language to help you understand. In the yes, go for it. Yeah, you have some question. Yes, that's right. If you remember when we were trying to build the application yesterday, when we drilled down, there was Pega rules, there was theme Cosmos, and then there was Pega rules on top of which we were building. Do we agree? That Pega rules contains all this programming which they have already built. Are you able to connect the dots? If that is understood, that is where we are today. And as I said, if this interests you, please drop me a message, and then it helps me to every day I don't have to reach out to everyone, each and everyone individually. I can create a group and I can send a common message and you guys can join in, and the class will be at the same time. Okay, thank you. If you don't have any questions, if you have any questions, I can just hold on for 2 more minutes. Yes, I'll be providing the recordings. That's right. I'll be providing the recordings. I'll be giving you the 8.7 software also, and we'll be doing installation. Maybe tomorrow, if someone has downloaded, we can do it on his system. Like every time, what happens is the instructor is always able to install, but the students who are joining in, they won't be able to install. So in my class, what I do is I usually have students do the installation, and we go on screen share on one of the students' laptops, and then we'll help him troubleshoot, and we'll be successfully installing the software. That's how we are trying to do. Does it make sense? More than the version, no, I mean the more than the version, it's more of to be able to think in terms of Pega to convert any requirement into a solution. That is where everyone faces issues. No one is going to ask you what is the difference between 8.7 and 8. They won't ask you. They will ask you what is your understanding when a requirement is given. How will you be able to build that in Pega is what they are going to ask. 8.7, yes, that's right. Anything else? Yes, only for understanding. Only, as I told in the start of the class, this is just for your understanding, to know what exactly class and object is all about. We are going to use that. And on top of this, we'll start. No, no, we won't use. No, 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 we won't use. We won't use. This is just to help you understand. I can write here, but the way we understood when we did it there was different, right? Did you feel the difference? Right? I mean, here we can write like this, but when you try to do it on the IDE, you will know, okay, exactly, this is what they are trying to do. To understand that, I use that. But it also gives you a good perspective of what a programming language looks like. You won't feel like, overwhelmed when you go into market, and if you see something, you go, okay, yeah, I think I saw this during my training sessions. I think this is exactly similar to what we have already, went through, like that. I'm trying to focus more in terms of CSA. CSA covers large areas. CSSA is more vast. It's very less of a certification. Like you can go get paid and you can do certification even without knowing what it is all about. But rather than that, building your stuff, building potential within yourself is what I'm focusing on. I'm not into, just doing it for certifications. Okay. Okay. Anything else, guys?